What's up guys, Stoic here, and in this video we're going to be having a look at the dynamic fees that are coming in with the Galactica Hard Fork. Let's get into it. So the Galactica Hard Fork, there are some changes to the way that fees work on VeChain Thor. The gas price, which is currently static, will become dynamic. Okay, so before we go any further, why am I talking about gas? Well, the fee is the cost of computing power used to execute transactions, and it's expressed in gas units. The gas units multiplied by the gas price gives us the fee that we need to pay. So after the hard fork, what will change is not the computing power or the gas used for a transaction, but the price for that gas. This sounds like it'll be a race to the highest possible transaction fee in order to prioritize your transactions, but actually the opposite will happen. It'll mean lower transaction fees for those DApps who play it smart. So what does this mean for end users, people who just use VWorld or interact with DApps on VBetterDAO? Well, you shouldn't notice any difference really using the DApps, and the only real change in VWorld is you'll have the option to increase or pay a higher fee in order to prioritize your transactions to help speed things along. So what if you own a Dapp? Is there any time that you need to upgrade by or anything like that? The first thing is just upgrade your dependencies. If you're only reading blockchain data, just make sure VeChain kit, the Dapp kit, and the SDK, etc., they're all up to date for the latest dependencies to align with Galactica. But if you're writing to the chain, like signing and submitting transactions, then the legacy transactions pre-Galactica Hard Fork with those static fee structure will still work. It's not going to bring your Dapp down. Okay, so there's no need to stress about it in that way, but I would encourage you to upgrade so that your transaction fees will be lower and you can save your users that cost. The pre-Galactica fee mechanism was determined by the base initial gas price value and the gas price coefficient. But with dynamic fees, it's going to be slightly different, so let's dive into this so we can understand it a little bit more. The mechanism is inspired by Ethereum's EIP 1559, which takes the current network traffic into account, along with the minimum possible base fee. There's a target threshold that every block is aiming to achieve for gas. It's 75% of the maximum capacity for gas in that given block. And what the protocol does is it adjusts the fee based on how close to that threshold the previous block's gas was. If the gas used is above that threshold, that means network traffic is increasing. And so the base fee is going to increase as well for the next block to accommodate. If the gas used is below that threshold, that means network traffic is coming down. And so the base fee will also lower itself for the next block down to a minimum lower bound. So there's an absolute minimum that it'll be. It won't go any lower than that. And that's 0.00001 VThor. This means that as each block passes, small fluctuations in network usage will create small fluctuations in that base gas fee. Okay, so we've kind of covered how this works, but now we're going to talk a little bit about some new fields that have been introduced to blocks and to transactions. In the pre-Galactica fee model, 70% of the VThor that was used for gas gets burned, and the rest goes to the validator. With Galactica, fees will still have two parts, but they'll be a bit more distinct. In the transaction, there are two new fields. There's max fee per gas and max priority fee per gas. The second one replaces fee gas coefficient from legacy transactions. In a block, there's one new field, base fee, which is decided by the protocol based on the usage of the network over the previous block. While the base fee will be burned completely, the max priority gas fee will be sent as a tip to the validator, which means the higher that fee, the more of a priority a validator will put on your transactions. Alright guys, I hope that clears up a little bit about dynamic fees for you. If you have any other questions, pop them in the comments or reach out to us on Discord or Telegram. We're happy to answer any more questions that you may have about these dynamic fees.